What's up, nerds? So I just got back from the theater to after watching Joker, what is it, Folie or whatever? I don't know, Joker 2. And I just want to say that this movie to me was just a big waste of time and a big waste of like the whole time I'm like, why? Why is this movie being made? I mean, first off, it was a musical, and that shit was just annoying. Like it was like every 5 minutes, it was like they just burst into like like it'd be like, "Hey, are you sad? Well, come on, get happy." And then they'd start singing, and I'm all like, "What's going on here? What is this nonsense? Like, what's going on here?" And like I'm pretty sure I'm not saying anything that's everybody else hasn't already said, but damn, was this just it was boring as shit. It did not get like kind of unboring until the trial started. And even then I was all like, this is not that much fun. I mean, I'll talk about my favorite scene and stuff. Let me just so this movie starts off with this animated sequence, which I really actually kind of like the animated sequence. I thought it was drawn really well. It was interesting, and it gives the Joker that he's impersonated by this shadow who takes his place to perform his, singing number for the TV show that was in the first one or whatnot. And like it abandons him on stage half undressed. And then the police show up and they just beat the shit out of him, And I was like, what, that's interesting, because the first movie, you kind of got this like, is it really him? Is it not him kind of thing? And I don't know. It was just so freaking weird. So then Arthur Fleck, so he's at Arkham Asylum, right? And he's awaiting trial for the crimes he had committed in the first movie, right? Now his lawyer, Miss Stewart, I don't remember her first name. They said it a couple times, like Madeline or something like that, right? So she's going to argue that Arthur has, like an identity disorder, like, two personalities or whatnot. And his Joker personality is responsible for all the crimes that he committed in that first movie. And at music therapy, which the guard gets him into, because and like real quick, Brendan Gleeson, he does a great job at just playing a real cunt. You know what I'm saying? All the guards at Arkham Asylum are just not nice to Arthur, but they I don't know. It's like they're only nice to him because they're making fun of him, and I'm like, that's not nice. Anyways, so he meets her name is Lee. She calls herself Lee, right? And she confesses to Arthur that she grew up in the same neighborhood as he did and had an abusive father that died in a car crash or whatnot. And then she got put in here, because, whatever. And she also expresses her admiration for all the stuff that Joker did in the first movie. And I just want to say also, I feel real bad for Lady Gaga because she's like in this movie for all of 5 minutes. I mean, what happened to this scene? I was looking forward to that. I'm like, what's going on here? There's stuff from the trailer that I think we didn't get to see in this movie. And I'm sorry, but like, that really bums me out because it could have been good. And I saw some people tweeting out, we want the Gaga cut. And I'm not gonna lie. Now I wonder. Now I'm always gonna wonder what's on the cutting room floor. And it's just so, I don't know, man. But anyway, so during a movie night at the Arkham Asylum, right? Lee starts a fire, okay? And she and Arthur are caught trying to escape. I mean, like they get into this whole thing where they're singing and laughing or whatever the hell they're doing, right? Well, Arthur then gets placed into solitary confinement. Now, I have to be honest, when he was in solitary confinement and it started this musical number, right, where they're on like a television show or whatnot, he's with, Harleen, Lee Quinzel or whatnot. I actually thought this part with the music number wasn't bad. I was all like, okay, when I've heard stories of people when they're in solitary confinement, they go a little cuckoo, bonkers, bananas, whatever. And I thought that was like, I was like, okay, this part right here to have the musical number actually makes sense, to have him, be trapped in his own mind. But that's the only part. That's like the only freaking part. And I was just like, man, this is so weird, right? So then Lee wakes him up, right? She's like, hey, sweetie, I only got 5 minutes. They let me in, and right? So she like influences him and tells him that she is going to get home. She's going to go home, but she promises she's going to be at the trial. She's like, this is better for us because we'll get to be at the trial. And then she pops his cherry, right? Because there's no way that bag of bones. Speaking of bag of bones, the whole time when he had his shirt off and I could see like this bone popping up right here, I was like, oh, he needs some milk. Get him some milk. All right. But the guards weren't going to get him any milk. Anyways. So she pops his cherry because that bag of bones wasn't smashing any bitches at all. Like I wouldn't smash him. Not looking like that, I'll tell you what. And then she goes on all these interviews after she gets out of there, advocating for him and everything. But then, and we don't see that. We only hear that from the lawyer chick. But then he is going to go do an interview with this Patty Myers guy, right? And he's doing this interview. And while he's doing this interview, he's like trying to convince everybody that he's got the Joker is a different personality, right? And while he's doing that, he sings to Lee through the television screen, right? And again, I can't tell if he's like really singing it or if it's just in his head, because half the time it's in his head and it just stops and goes back to where he was. And she's, loving it. And it's that scene from the trailer where she smashes the window and she takes the TV. And I was like, I thought that would be like a flashback from the first movie where she saw all that shit goes down and then she steals it. And we find out later on she's from a prominent family. And I might mention that Lynn a little bit, but I'm like, why would you steal that, honey? And I'm like, you don't need that. You've got the money, or your parents do at least. But anyway, so she steals that TV. So it gets to the trial, right? And the assistant district attorney, Harvey Dent, little cutie patootie, he calls witnesses like that will like get rid of the Arthur's argument that he's crazy. Okay. And real quick, can't use the word crazy anymore. Bullshit. I'm going to use the word crazy all day, every day. Anyways. So during like, a little breaky, his lawyer, she reveals that Lee is actually, she is a psychiatry student, or she was, or whatever. And she grew up on the Upper East Side of Gotham, or Manhattan, because it's just Manhattan anyways. And her father's actually a doctor and he's still alive. So she just lied and everything. And I'm like, and he's just like, I don't know, he's kind of believing her, but at the same time, he's all like, what's going down here? So then, and she also tells her that she voluntarily committed herself to Arkham Asylum and checked herself out. And she only did that so she could meet him, right? And she was never like, because she said she was burned down in the apartment building that he grew up in. I was less like, so she lied. All of her backstory was just big freaking lie. So, but when Arthur confronts her, she confesses that she lied just so she could get close to Arthur. And I'm all like, ugh, okay, gross, but whatever. But she also tells him that she is preggers, which I'm all like, excuse me. And this is exactly how it is with bitches. Because we find out later on, she really wasn't pregnant. She was just lying and using that shit to keep him. And that's what bitches do sometimes. They be like, I'm preggers. And then you like stay with them and they're not really pregnant. They're like, and you're just like, listen, fellas, we've all been there, right? I know I have, and you know what I'm talking about. So, whatever. Anyways, and she tells him that she bought an apartment in the old apartment building that he lived in, so they could create a home. They're gonna build a mountain. So at the trial, the following day, after he confronts Lee, right? Arthur, he fires his attorney because she is not doing a good job. They've got Zazie Beetz up on the stand, and I don't remember her character's name. It's like Sophie or something like that. And Sophie, they're just tearing Arthur down the whole time, talking about how he was abused by his mother and like, essayed by his mom or whatnot. And like, I guess boyfriends that the mom brought in or whatnot. And then Zazie Beetz is on the stand and she's talking about how his mother would tell her all the time, like she never had a girlfriend and that he cried all the time. So to make him laugh, she'd tell him that he was happy and he got stuck in this fantasy world. And I'm all like, okay. I'm like, first off, we didn't really need this shit. I didn't need to know about Arthur's past. I mean, you didn't need to know about Arthur's past. You could tell by his situation that his childhood sucked balls. Okay. Kind of like, his mom's boyfriends made him do. You could just tell it was bad and everything. We didn't need details. We just didn't need them because I think that not knowing the details made it worse, slash, like, we felt a little bit worse. We felt bad for him because I think that's what you want to do. You want to feel sympathy, even though not excusing his bad behavior as an adult. So he fires his lawyer because she's not helping at all, right? And he decides he's going to represent himself, okay? So then they bring in his former coworker, Gary Puddles, the little. And I have to be honest right now that this was my favorite scene of the entire movie. Because Arthur, he gets up and he starts questioning Gary Puddles, the little. And he's putting on this Southern accent and this Australian accent. I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to do here, but he puts on these different accents and he starts asking him, he's like, is your real name Puddles? Yeah, and everything. And he's like, Puddles, you want us to believe that their last name is Puddles? And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to lie. It is a little bit funny that his last name is Puddles, Gary Puddles. But at the same time, I'm like, listen, fucker, he said that's his real name. Move on, because this isn't funny anymore. It's just not funny. And then he during his speech, he does mention that the guards at Arkham Asylum are shit and they are not nice to him and everything. But one thing that really hit was when Gary was telling him, and he goes, you didn't see me, lash out or whatnot. And he's like, how do you know that was the real me or whatnot? Nobody sees the real me or whatnot. And the thing, I think that he realized that when Gary was all like, you were the only one nice to me. You never picked on me like everybody else. And also before that, he goes, wasn't, the guy that Randall, wasn't he a bully? And he's like, yeah, Randall was a bully, but that didn't mean he deserved to be killed. And you could see visually the change on Arthur's face. And I think that was really, and kudos to Joaquin Phoenix for his acting, because, at that point in time, I was like, okay, this part's really good. And then he's like, no more questions. And he's like, why would you do that? He goes, why would you do that to me? He's like, you were always so kind to me. And then you did that. He's like, and then he said, I couldn't do anything. I can't sleep. I'm scared all the time. I'm even scared right now. And I was like, this is good. This part's good. I'm like, why couldn't you do shit like this the entire freaking movie? And then he says, you were the only one nice to me. Why would you do that or something like that? I can't remember exactly. Sorry, I didn't take notes. And I was like, all right, that's good. And he's like, yeah, I said no more questions. And you could see he was visibly shaken, right? So then he goes back to Arkham and the guards are pissed, right? And they get him into the bathroom, right? And let me just tell you right now, they wreck his booty hole. So, they treated him worse than that kid from 13 Reasons Why. And I was just like, I felt bad because, nobody deserves that nonsense. And then he gets thrown into solitary confinement again. And while he's doing that, this one, Arkham Asylum person, I can't remember his name, but he keeps singing, oh, when the saints come marching in, and it is, and the guards, they choke him to death and he dies. And I was like, ah, shit. I'm like, this stuff is really, anyways. So then it goes back to the day, the next day in court, because at this point in time, after Gary Puddles, after his testimony, the prosecution rests. Harvey Dent rests, and he's like, defense, do you want to prepare your defense? And he's like, the prosecution rests. So now they're giving their closing statements. Okay. And during the closing arguments, right, Arthur is clearly just, devastated. Okay. And he takes full responsibility for his actions, and he looks into the mirror or into the camera, and he just like, I killed those people. And he talks about how he killed his mother. He smothered her in his car. And Lee at this point is just upset, and she looks great, by the way. I love Lady Gaga's outfit in this one. She looks great, but she leaves because she's pissed now. Okay. So then the jury comes back and they find him guilty of first degree murder. Okay. And as the foreman's reading off the verdict, he starts to laugh. And as he does it, a car bomb goes off and explodes. Okay. And we saw this in the trailer and outside the courthouse, and it kills and injures a bunch of people. And half of Harvey Dent's face gets, mangled. Now he's Two-Face. And in the chaos of everything, two of Arthur's, lackeys find him and they get him into a car and they escape. And then as they're driving along, Arthur gets out and he runs away. And we've seen that in the trailer or whatnot. And then Arthur, he's walking around Gotham like a homeless person. And he sees Lee outside on the steps, those famous steps that are, I guess now, the inhabitants of those apartment complexes are just like, people are just trying to get pictures of that. I never understood that whole thing where people want to get pictures of famous places like that were in movies, but I'm not that type of girl. Anyways. And she rejects him because he got rid of his Joker, persona, right? And she reveals that she lied about her pregnancy. I mean, like, surprise, typical fucking bitches. Anyways, not all women are bitches, just the ones that lie about being pregnant to keep a man. Trust me, when it happens to you fuckers, it sucks. Anyways, so the police, they nab him and he's returned to Arkham, okay? And so while he's there the next day, I believe it's the next day, another patient approaches him. Now, I just want to say right now, I saw the foreshadowing of this character because they kept showing him. And I'm just like, what's going on with this dude? I don't know what's going on. I don't know why, why they're showing him every 5 seconds. They kind of show him in the background. He bites a guard and then they show him like leaning up against the wall. And the whole time I'm like, why are we looking at this fucker right now? And he approaches Arthur because Arthur gets a visitor. And he tells him a joke, right? And it ends up that the punchline is, you get what you fucking deserve, right? And he stabs him. He just stabbing him in the gut. And then it goes to another freaking musical number, which I'm all like, Jesus Christ. If there's any more singing in this goddamn movie, I'm going to freak the fuck out. Meanwhile, it's like, the end of the movie. Anyway, so he stabs him in the stomach a bunch of times. And as Arthur's bleeding out, the patient is laughing like hysterically. And then he cuts a smile into his face. I don't remember what that's called, or you cut your cheeks and everything. He does it Heath Ledger style. And he's laughing and he's like looking up against the wall, and then Arthur passes. And that's the end of the movie. And I just want to say that visually, like color palette wise and looks wise, this movie is beautiful. In fact, I would say it's better than the first one in terms of that. But I just want to say, in terms of writing, and directing, this is not good. The directing sucks. I mean, Todd Phillips, that first movie was really good. But Todd Phillips, first off, I don't think he knows shit about musicals. Second off, I don't think he knows shit about sequels. And it's very obvious he doesn't know shit about Joker. I mean, I'm so annoyed with this movie. How can you fall so far from the beaten path? I mean, there's so many things you could, and like Lady Gaga, they wasted her. I'm sorry, but she was just a big waste in here. Like they wasted her time. And I like Lady Gaga, but this was just, and I feel bad for her because she was given a rough go at this and everything, but she did the best she could. And I personally did not care for this movie. I thought the writing was not good. I know that Todd Phillips and some other dude, his first name is Scott. I don't remember his last name because I don't need to. But it was just bad. It was really bad. I like I said, why was this made? And I know why, because Todd Phillips got a fuck ton of money to make a sequel of $1 billion hit. And I just go, this is sad that this is what has come to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there won't be another one. Thank God. I don't know, man. I wasted my time. Why was this made? It's my thoughts. I'm going to leave it there. Sorry, I didn't take notes. I'm just rambling here. But tell me what you guys thought about this movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? It was bad. It was so bad. Yeah, this is definitely one of my least favorite movies of the year. Bummer. I was looking forward to it. But tell me what you guys thought. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on my next movie review. You guys have a good day. Bye.